The voice boomed across the vast, echoing hall of Harvard University's Jefferson Physics Building. Dozens of heads turned, pens paused mid-sentence, and a momentary silence spread like wildfire through the classroom. At the back of the room, just inside the heavy double doors, stood an elderly woman. She looked out of place. Her long skirt was faded, her blouse wrinkled. Her hair, a clean silver, was tied in a low bun. A simple cloth bag hung from her shoulder, and in her hands, she held a small spiral notebook. She didn't move. She just looked around, blinking through her glasses at the students and the professor up front. The man on stage, Professor Richard Langston, adjusted his mic and cleared his throat. He was in his mid-50s, tall, sharp-featured, and dressed in a tailored charcoal suit, more fitting for a corporate boardroom than a physics lecture. Langston wasn't just any professor. He was a decorated theoretical physicist with a reputation for brilliance and arrogance. Students admired his mind but dreaded his ego. "I said," Langston repeated, "you're interrupting a very advanced session. This is not an open event." The woman took a breath and spoke, her voice quiet but steady. "I'm here for the seminar, the one on unified field theory." A few chuckles erupted in the hall. Some students whispered behind their hands. Did she say unified field theory? She probably thought it was a book club or something. Why would a cleaning lady want to sit in this class? Langston allowed himself a smile, the kind that didn't reach his eyes. This, he thought, was a perfect moment to assert his superiority. "Well then," he said with performative courtesy, "if you're here for the seminar, perhaps you'd like to explain what we just discussed." He stepped aside, gesturing toward the enormous chalkboard behind him. Written across it was a dense and intricate mathematical derivation, a hybrid of tensor calculus, differential geometry, and quantum field theory. Most of it would fly over the head of anyone without a PhD in physics. The students sat up, sensing something viral-worthy was about to happen. Some even began recording. The old woman adjusted her glasses and peered at the board. Langston leaned against the desk, arms crossed. "Go on. Take your time," he said mockingly. "Math can be intimidating." The room snickered. The woman didn't respond. She walked slowly toward the front of the class, past the rows of young students now watching her with amused expressions. Reaching the chalkboard, she looked at it quietly. Her fingers ran gently over the edge of the board, like she had done this before, maybe long ago. Then she picked up a piece of chalk. She began to erase. Not the whole thing, just certain parts. A symbol here, a variable there. She changed a limit, altered an operator, then rewrote an entire expression using a more elegant form. It wasn't random. It was deliberate. Line after line, she moved with surprising confidence. The room slowly grew quiet. Phones that had been raised to record now hovered motionless. Even Professor Langston had straightened in his chair, watching her. When she finished, she put the chalk down gently and turned to face the class. "There," she said softly. "Your derivation was mostly correct, but it ignored curvature near singularities. That would collapse the field in less than Planck time." Langston blinked. "Excuse me?" She pointed at the equation. "You're assuming a flat spacetime in a region where it would warp under gravity. That's why your equation breaks under general relativistic conditions." Langston stepped toward the board, eyes scanning her corrections. His face slowly drained of color. She was right, painfully right. One of the grad students, a tall boy in the second row, leaned toward his neighbor and whispered, "That's brilliant. I didn't even notice the curvature fail." Another muttered, "How does she know that? I've never seen that correction before." Someone finally spoke up. "Ma'am, who are you?" The woman smiled and answered simply, "My name is Dr. Eliza Thornton. I used to teach theoretical physics at MIT. I retired years ago, but I still like to keep my mind active." Gasps filled the room. A few students scrambled to Google her name. Within seconds, one of them shouted, "She's published 38 papers on quantum gravity. She's cited in the Hawkingthorpe model. She's a legend." Another added, She debated Leonard Susskind in '89. On national television, Langston took a step back. His face was a mix of embarrassment and disbelief. He had tried to humiliate a world-class physicist in front of his class, simply because she looked old and unassuming. I had no idea," he stammered. Dr. Thornton nodded kindly. "Most people don't. I stopped attending academic conferences because no one listened after my hair turned gray." The room was frozen. No one spoke. Langston, visibly humbled, cleared his throat. "Dr. Thornton, I deeply apologize. That was not only rude, it was ignorant of me." She gave a small smile. "It's all right. These days I come to learn, not to be recognized." She began walking toward the door, but Langston stopped her. "Please," he said, "would you consider continuing the lecture? I think we'd all benefit more from hearing you." The students erupted in applause. Dr. Thornton hesitated, but seeing the earnest faces of the students, young minds hungry for knowledge, she slowly nodded. For the next hour, she took over the board. Her teaching was calm and clear, her words layered with wisdom and humility. She broke down complex theories with ease, connecting string theory to quantum loops, explaining dark matter's role in field fluctuations. The students were glued to every word. Even Langston sat in the front row, nodding, occasionally asking questions, always respectfully now. After the class ended, a line of students formed to meet her. Some asked for selfies. Others begged her to return the following week. One student said, "You've changed the way I think about physics forever." Another whispered, "I want to be like you, quiet, brilliant, and humble." Thornton smiled but shook her head. "Don't be like me, be better. And always remember, never mistake simplicity for ignorance." That evening, the incident flooded social media. Clips of the lecture spread rapidly, with captions like, "Old woman destroys Harvard professor with one equation," "Retired genius silences Ivy League arrogance," and "Dr. Eliza Thornton, the hidden legend of physics." Within 24 hours, Dr. Thornton became a trending topic worldwide. Emails flooded in from major universities, podcasts, and science magazines. But she politely declined them all. Instead, she returned to Harvard quietly the next week. This time, not as an outsider, but as an honored guest lecturer. Langston introduced her to every new class with respect and admiration, even admitting during one session, "Dr. Thornton reminded me of something critical. Knowledge doesn't wear a suit, and genius doesn't come with a spotlight." Weeks later, a framed quote appeared above the door to Langston's lecture hall. "Judge people not by how they look, but by what they know, and how humbly they share it." Dr. Eliza Thornton. The quote inspired thousands, especially young students and women in STEM fields. She became a quiet symbol of grace, wisdom, and lifelong curiosity. And somewhere, in a quiet Boston apartment filled with books and chalkboards, Dr. Thornton continued her personal experiments. Not for fame, not for prestige, but for the pure joy of understanding the universe.